What's up, Giants fans? Back at it here with another New York Giants video. And in this video, I want to talk to you all about why I think Abdul Carter is the perfect prospect for the New York Football Giants at number 3 overall on Thursday night for the NFL draft. And before I dive into this very enticing and awesome prospect, folks, if you're new to the channel, make sure to check us out at Big Blue Avenue on Instagram, Twitter, X, and then YouTube as well, where we will be covering the NFL draft live on night 1. Make sure to check us out there. And we will also post videos of the prospects selected on day 2 and day 3. Sam is out of town, so probably not doing a live stream on night 2, but we will definitely put up some content for you there. So let's talk about Abdul Carter, ladies and gentlemen. Now, throughout the pre-draft process, I should say, the Giants were, studying several prospects at this position. Unsure if they would go quarterback, if they would try to go after Travis Hunter. But as the days and weeks have gone on, it's starting to look a lot more like Abdul Carter. Makes a lot of sense for the Giants at number 3 overall. And I'm going to explain why in this video. First, the vitals. Junior out of Penn State, 6'3", 250. Just 21 years old. Now, he's a Philadelphia, PA native. He's a huge Eagles fan growing up. The smoke screen rumors about if the Giants pass on him, maybe Eagles trade up to get him, absolute bogus. He did not do drills at the scouting combine, but he did submit for medical testing there. He did find the stress reaction in his right foot. It did not bother him during the season, and no surgery is required. We do know he dealt with the shoulder injury throughout the year at Penn State in their run to the CFP semifinal. But, yeah, guys, look, Abdul Carter is the real deal. The Giants have brought him in for multiple visits. There's the Instagram story about him taking a picture with Lawrence Taylor at the New York Giants facility. Brian Daboll went out to Penn State to have breakfast with him earlier this month. I think it was a Sunday morning breakfast. And there's that viral video of Daboll coming out of the residence hall or whatever with Abdul Carter. And then earlier this morning, he quoted this on where he thinks he'll end up on Thursday night. Definitely New York right now, but we'll see what happens tomorrow. So, yeah, I'm not so sure what's going to happen. I do think that the Browns do land Travis Hunter. I think the Giants will take Abdul Carter at number 3. Of course, there's rumors about the Browns and Giants potentially trading back, which is why I'm saying let's proceed with caution here before it actually happens. But, he's definitely got a good feeling with Big Blue, which is awesome. Brian Daboll's son, Christian, was on the Penn State coaching staff earlier in Carter's career, so there's a tie there. 2024 first team AP All-American, Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year, first team All Big Ten. The accolades are there. Despite the injury process for him this season, he started all 16 games, had 68 tackles, led the nation with 23.5 tackles for loss, also had 12 sacks to his name, 4 pass breakups, and 2 forced fumbles. He's gone through a transformation since being recruited by James Franklin on that staff up at Penn State. He started off as a linebacker and an off-ball linebacker, I should say, and then making the transition to, a 5-tech defensive end. Maybe if he gains a little weight, a little muscle mass, he could play some 4-eye as well in the NFL. But, yeah, look, I think if you're Shane Bowen and that Giants defensive staff, you have to be thrilled if this is where the Giants are going at number 3 overall. It's interesting because in 2023, he was more regarded as a mid-round prospect for this upcoming draft. He only had 5.5 tackles for loss that year, 4.5 sacks, but just a sophomore. I do think Abdul Carter, what makes him so special is he can dart around blocks and scrap at the point of attack. And what I mean by that, he uses his quickness and his athleticism as leverage against, Big Ten offensive tackles. I think that can translate to the NFL easily. Big Ten, definitely the best conference in college football this past season. An intense pass rush. I mean, he explodes out of blocks, which is very difficult to do, right? He can force tackles to abandon assignments as well. um, you know, make their technique a little bit off kiltered as well. I think, good bend at the top of the rush, great with his hands, and the body control is awesome. And he's got massive length. Additionally, the length and the speed, I think, in terms of the NFL level, folks, allowed for expanded range as a playmaker. I do think he has one up on Kayvon Thibodeau in that department and potentially Brian Burns. Hard for QBs to shake him too, right? So once he gets past the offensive tackle, the pocket collapses, and the quarterbacks in college were unable to extend plays more often than not against him, and that's because of his good inside spin. There are some concerns with Abdul Carter. I did mention the injuries, right? The shoulder injury that he played through, which is healing, and then the stress reaction in his right foot. I did mention earlier no surgery is required, but there is the injuries, and we know Kayvon Thibodeau has dealt with injuries throughout his first 3 NFL seasons, and he's yet to play every game yet in his 3-year career with the Giants. So it's definitely going to be interesting, to see what happens there. And looking at the Giants, right? They finished with a 41% pass rush win rate this past season. That ranked 13th in the National Football League, but it was much better to start the year. The Giants really slowed down, right? They lost Dexter Lawrence due to injury. Brian Burns was the only consistent pass rusher out there for the Giants all season. The ineffectiveness of Kayvon Thibodeau at times, although some will argue that Thibodeau's last year, 2024, was better in 2023, where a lot of those sacks he had in 23 were sort of like longer developing plays. That just took way too much time, and they think Thibodeau's pass rush win rate was much better in 2024. The stats will back that up, but you also have to consider, too, that Thibodeau's injury concern and sort of the numbers don't match up to the hype from where he was drafted in 2022. And then it's starting to make sense why he was the 3rd edge rusher off the board behind Trayvon Walker and Aiden Hutchinson. Now, I do think Thibodeau is better than Trayvon Walker, but, the jury's still out on him. And I don't think this is a bad thing at all to bring in a 3rd edge rusher. I don't think it's really competition for Kayvon Thibodeau. What I think it is, it allows another edge rusher to be on the football field. The fact that you have not Burns, not Thibodeau, not Dexter Lawrence, you have 4 guys who are threats to get to the quarterback on the football field. Let's be real, guys. The Giants need to get better as a football team in 2025. You have quarterbacks like Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott to go after. And you want to get back to this Big Blue wrecking crew, right? You want to get back to the NASCAR packages that they ran with Strahan, Tuck, OC, Kiwanuka, JPP. Those were the days. Championship level defense and pass rush is the blueprint to successful New York Giants football. And I do think Abdul Carter sets the Giants up for a long-term future, right? The massive contract extension for, Brian Burns that they got after they traded for him. But what does this ultimately mean for Kayvon Thibodeau's long-term future with the Giants? I think what it allows the Giants to do is say, hey, we don't have to pay you if you don't produce in 2025, right? We're set. We drafted Abdul Carter at number 3 overall. And looking at it, too, outside of the Thibodeau factor, there's not really much depth at the edge rusher position, right? Especially with Thibodeau being injury prone. I know they went out and they got Chauncey Golston in free agency. They brought Tamon Fox back, but they did lose Azeez Ojulari to the Philadelphia Eagles. So overall, I think Abdul Carter is a shoo-in to be the pick at number 3 overall. I think it makes the most sense. He'll be the best player on the board, unless the Cleveland Browns fool us all, right? And I think we'll have that conversation, but I think Abdul Carter loves Lawrence Taylor. He seems to like the New York Giants right now. Good connection there with, Brian Daboll and his son, Christian, Joe Shane. Ultimately, we got to see what happens on Thursday night. But I've had to put my money on it. The New York Giants are going to be drafting Abdul Carter on Thursday night at number 3 overall. Folks, let me know what you think of this video. Do you agree? Is Abdul Carter the pick? Is he a good fit for Big Blue? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments section below. And friendly neighborhood reminder to please ring the bell for notifications, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment below whether you agree or disagree about this prospect for the New York Football Giants. I'm really excited for the NFL draft. Let's keep the bell rolling. Let's build from the trenches and get back to championship level football. Appreciate you all. And without further ado, Let's go, Big Blue.